All right. Hey, everyone. I'm still trying to set up the lab computer. So if you guys can give me maybe another like 2 or 3 minutes before I get started, and then I'm gonna jump to a different screen. So you guys can hold on a little bit. None of you guys are logged into the Zoom, right? No. All right, good. Um, you guys log in, we'll get like this weird echo, and it's gonna be bad. All right. Hello? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Hello? All right, we got a thumbs up. So I'm gonna go ahead and start going. Perfect. All right, so let's get started. All right, so Yeah, oh, it should be fine. All right. So welcome to BIOL133. So we're doing intro molecular and cell biology. This is my second time teaching this course. I do enjoy it a lot. It's in the beginning, it's going to be a little bit, it's going to feel a little weird because we're going to go over like super broad topics. And then you were slowly going to narrow down and kind of re-go over that story of how does life work, starting at very small, and we're kind of jumping up, getting ourselves to going from an atom to an actual getting to ourselves to a cell, and from a cell getting us to an organ, and that getting us to kind of basically tissue. It is an intro course. Just so you guys know, I'm a super big fan of molecular, right? So whenever you guys when you see the molecular slides, I normally get super excited and I talk very fast. So that's something you guys have to keep in mind. But for this to work, we have to work as a team. So that means that I'm expecting you guys to ask me questions. Like it's part of the process. If I'm going to, like I know myself, I'm gonna go too fast. And it's your guys' role to basically stop me and ask me questions to slow me down. With that being said, one of my things is I really appreciate and I really like class participation. So there's this phrase my family says called in Spanish, it's like pajarito que no pía no come, right? Which translates to bird that doesn't chirp doesn't eat. So a baby bird, right? It chirps to get its food, but by it chirping, it puts itself in danger, right? Predators can find it. It doesn't know, it can't fly yet, so it's stuck there. But the reward is so big that it has to chirp to eat, despite putting itself in danger. And I know a lot of people, I even feel this way, I get nervous public speaking or in big groups. And then sometimes that kind of scares me, like, oh, I shouldn't do this or I shouldn't be part of it. But my flip side to that is that because of that, I like to give you guys big rewards. So it's like, even if it's just asking a question or telling me, hey, can you please clarify that one more time? Or why is that so important, right? Any of those questions, I'll give you a point. If I ask a question and I ask about like on the audience, hey, can you guys help me out? What does this mean? Or what did you guys read about this? Then I'll give you like 2 or 3 points. Those points they get added up on top of something. So it's like, if we go to our syllabus, you see, this is our, sorry, I'm gonna jump real fast and then I'll get myself backwards. But basically, these are the assignments we're gonna be completing throughout the quarter. And you're gonna see that, for example, like your exams are like 50 points, they're worth 50 points, right? We're gonna have 2 of those. And what that means to me is that within that time frame, it's like if you participate even just 1 time a week, right? That's gonna be 5 participation points during those 5 weeks. That's basically 10% of your grade. So it means that if you got a B in your exam, that automatically raises you to an A. If you got a C, it raises you to a B, right? So class participation is gonna be super important. The other one, these quizzes and assignments, I'm gonna move them around. Sometimes they'll be like a formal quiz where I'm asking you questions. I'll try to give you stuff like free response, balanced with a little bit of multiple choice, but they're gonna be about the material we covered the class before, right? And the pre-reading for the current class. Because my goal is to use these questions to connect one topic to the following topic, right? And then some of those I'll switch them in where the assignment will be at the end of class. You guys are responsible for getting a flashcard and then basically writing down a question for the day or writing a summary of what we talked about that day. Yeah. All right, so get into you guys' materials. I think you guys are probably all starting to get a little familiar with it says Brightspace, yeah. So if you go to our course, go to content. Here I'll be uploading the syllabus should already be up. I have the syllabus and the schedule, both of the documents. If something comes up, like depending if we're going faster in the class or slower in the class, I will make changes. So I recommend not printing them out. Whenever you want to go double check on a due date, double check on a paper, I'd rather you go back to this links, open them up, and you'll see there what the changes are. And then I'll also try to give you guys in a course announcement like, hey, we might have to cancel a quiz or we shift over an assignment. So you can either open them through here. There's our schedule. So this one, it'll be basically kind of how we break down the whole semester. So I sometimes mix up the letters. So if you guys see me when I'm spelling stuff, I'm gonna have typos. So if you guys catch them, let me know so we can fix them. But I'm really a color guy. It helps me figure things out, right? So when you're looking at this, you really use the colors to help you interpret how things are working out. So you can see the blue, these little vertical columns, they basically represent the material that's going to be on our first exam, right? So use the color code to guide you. The other big things to look at there is green sections. In this middle column are basically days where you guys are going to be doing work in class. So I'll give you a problem set, about 5 problems. You guys will break up into a little bit of a group, and you guys will work through that problem, and you get a grade as a group. So for those, you have to be in class. So I need, like, their attendance is mandatory. These other days, you know, we hope you don't miss class, because it really does help to kind of go over the material, or like, I think it's part of the learning process, but I kind of also think you guys are adults, and you know, sometimes stuff happens, you guys get sick, stuff with other classes. To me, you don't need to share the details of what's going on. Just tell me, hey, I wasn't able to make it that day, just so I know you're okay, and then that's fine with me. If it's medical reasons, you don't have to tell me what it is. Just be like, hey, it was a personal thing, and it's fine. Yeah. So just keep me in the loop. That way I don't try to activate one of those like safety programs. Be like, hey, we're missing somebody. Can you please check on them? But just send me an email. We'll be fine. But those days, you have to come to class. There won't be makeups. Fortunately, we're going to do 6 of them, and I'm going to drop 1. So it means that you have technically could miss one of them and you'd be all right. But I normally drop the lowest score, so you kind of also have a little bit of a safety net. The other big thing to look at is whenever you see the big colorful columns, those are basically our exam days. So blue section, we're gonna be working on that till February. We'll take the first exam. Next, we'll dive into the cell itself. So this will be all the red sections. We get into exam 2. This one is gonna be a little bit harder because we have the spring break right in the middle. So when we go through this material at the beginning, we're gonna cover 6 slides. Last time what I felt was that this slide, by this time, I was already losing you guys. Like everyone's like already, I'm going home, I'm done for the semester. But I'm gonna try to keep you guys, everyone in the loop. And then depends here how we're feeling as a class. I might push a review session to like at the beginning of this class, just to be like, hey, let's get back into the loop of what we were. And then of course we're gonna have a review session right before the exams, then the exam 2. And then yellow will get us all the way to the final one, which would be exam 3. And that's gonna be basically your final. The other thing is, the other assignment you guys are gonna be working on is gonna be these short essays, which is, there's like 2 prompts. They should already be on your calendar, like on that Brightspace calendar. You should be able to see them. Back. These guys right here. If you go in there, you can see the prompts already up, and it basically is just a 2-page little quick write-up. With that writing assignment, one thing that I have an issue with is I don't like AI at all. Like, I think it's a useful tool, but at the same time, it hides our creativity and our thinking process, right? Like, there is a chance that people can completely jump in. So with that being said, and we're going to work as a team, and we're all going to trust each other. And it's like, hey, I don't want you guys to use that to write these assignments, right? Sometimes people, like Grammarly has different levels of how much it can help you. And it started getting into the generative things, or it pushes your words into being super common, which also triggers the algorithms to be like, hey, this might be AI. So my thing that I'm gonna tell you guys right now is do your own writing. When you're doing stuff for my class, turn off Grammarly and turn off any AI thing you have. I won't deduct points for grammar errors or for spelling errors, because we know the software can handle that, right? And be like, hey, we're not all perfect spellers, we're in a rush, doesn't matter, I'm not gonna be picky about it, right? So I'd rather see your rough writing, see your ideas, I wanna see you thinking, I wanna see your logic, and that's what I enjoy, right? And then for me, it's like if you guys are, once you're in a professional environment, it's like, I still want you guys to be doing your ideas, but then you can use that editing software, all those tools at the end to basically polish the work to make it like the most refined piece. But as long as everyone's cool, then we'll keep these assignments going. But otherwise, I'm gonna have to play around with things, try to basically make them a little bit better. All right, the other thing is there's this outside of class, like a short video. So it's gonna be like a bio appreciation video. Last year I got like 40% hilarious, like people were just, they dove into it, they picked their topic and they just made the videos funny. I had a few that were more like informative, like it almost felt like an infomercial. But that one's a creative activity. I'd rather it be about one or two lectures that you can talk about. If you decide to set something big, then you could potentially work in groups of 2 or 3, but only if it's a bigger topic. And let me see what else. The final exam, I give more points on it than the other ones. The goal is it should be just the material in yellow. The problem is that material in yellow is it uses the foundation of the top 2. And also it's like, when you guys give me your exams, I go through them and I do an analysis of what questions you guys missed. So I grab those questions and I re-put them back into the final, hoping that, hey, if you learn the material, went back and fixed what you were deficit in as a class, you got a better chance of bumping up your grade at the end. Yeah. All right, let's do a quick one. So now I have 2 sections of this class. I have one now at 8 to 8:50. I have another section at 10 to 10:50. They're both here in this class. I would prefer for everyone to stick to their own section. If an emergency does arise, which I feel like this 8 a.m. class, I'm gonna get a few of those stepped in, miss my alarm kind of things. If you're free to come to their lecture, please do so. For the most part, I try to record my lectures and then I upload them to YouTube within a day or 2. So if you miss class, please make sure it's your responsibility to follow up and make sure you cover the material. And if you have any questions, it's your responsibility to come reach out to me or reach out to your classmates. Yeah, if you click on this, you'll get my email. That's basically my office down the hall. And then office hours, I'm gonna set out a doodle poll to you guys where you guys kind of fill in the times that you would prefer the office hours to be. And then I'm gonna create like 2 or 3 hours for you guys, 2 or 3 hours for the next class, and then a final set for my other class. But once I show up the office hours for either classroom, you can show up to whichever one, I don't care, right? So I'll set some up for A, some for B, but if you guys come during either one, it'll be fine. Let me see. So one thing that I kind of like and hate about biology is terminology, right? Like using a lot of specialized words specific to our topic. You're gonna find a lot of that here. I used to grab like a little lab notebook. I'm there with me. But I would always go to the back and I would start making my own little dictionary, because it's like, we're going to use a lot of vocabulary and we're going to be jumping of like trying to compare things like, hey, what's euchromatid versus a heterochromatid? Or we'll try to chase down like some specific definition of a structure of a molecule or something. It's super useful to have a quick place to go look at and be like, oh, I know what that means. And if you're ever reading something and you find a word, you're like, hey, I really don't know what this means. It's your job to make sure you go look it up and then write it into your little dictionary. Be like, hey, add this to my list. So again, I want you guys to attend class. Those Wednesdays are super critical. Please don't miss. And then again, discussion. I really want you guys to participate. And like I said, I'm very generous with points. I'm gonna give you guys flashcards sometimes, just be like, just add points to it. I've had students pick up like 7 points in one day, right? So the more active you are, the more I can give you points on those things. Studying. So I think you guys need to study. It's like a very active. And my thing is also, I think you need repeated exposures to make things stick, right? So biology, a lot of terminology, it's a lot of material. And like I said, we're going through all the scales. So what I would recommend is read the material, read the assigned reading, which you can find on our schedule. So sorry, it's almost like you're breaking codes, right? But this is basically the sections of the book that I want you guys to read for that class. So what I would say is read this before you come to class. Once in class, I'll give you the summary and I'll hit the main points. But I want you guys, if there's questions that you still have, those are the things that I want you to bring to class. That way it'll be, you read the book first. So you got your first exposure. You're going to come to my class. We're going to go through our things. That'll be your second exposure. And then the third one will be when you're reviewing the material, right? So it'll be 3 times that you've seen the same thing over and over again. And then I think it helps build. And then on these days, we'll be basing it on questions of the classes right before it. So that'll basically be your 4th opportunity where you're actually applying the material that you learned, right? So bio, to be honest, the biggest tool you need to succeed in biology is just being like, I call it like hard-headed. It's like, I'm determined, this is what I want. And I know all it takes is a bit of work, right? And with that being said, one thing that will help you is you guys need to figure out what's your best way of learning. It's different for each person. And also you need to learn what's the best way of applying my learning skills to each different class. I know it sounds a little abstract now, but you'll see when you start seeing my notes, you'll see kind of my style, how I can see things. But I need you guys to work on trying to find what's your best learning method. All right, so about this, video quizzes, short essay, that'll be good. So you'll be able to. All right, then I got important dates. So you guys should take your time, read through the syllabus. I normally populate my own Google Calendar with dates, and I keep mine super populated. So if you ever need to make office hours that aren't on the schedule or you can't make it, you guys can just go to your Google Calendars. And if you open it up, hopefully, you can actually search people's names here, right? So like, all right, this is one of my students. Let's see what she's up to. Oh, she hasn't done it yet. This is the chair of the bio department. She's normally, she's really good about her schedule, right? So I can actually go in and see what she's doing, but just how I can do that with her, all of you can do that with my schedule. So if you see that there's going to be openings in my schedule like this, and you're like, hey, I just need a quick 15 minutes, go in there and just highlight it, invite me to the event, and I'll say yes to you. And that means that we're like scheduled for that meeting. Yeah, but keep it reasonable between like 9 and 5. No, I don't do late nights. All right, calendar, that's one way to talk to me. The other one is, of course, send me emails. Make sure in your prompt, you put bio with the L, BIOL133 in your heading. That way my screen thing will pick it up that it'll be part of this class. Yeah. Then getting the material for the class. I think all of you, if you guys go onto your Google Drive, you should have a folder called ZZ Biology 133, part of this shared drive thing. This is where I normally organize everything. Here you see this is our schedule. I think our syllabus is right here, and these are our slides. And then here, blue section, and you can basically open them up from here. I also link these all through Brightspace, so you can also go through the Brightspace links, and they'll lead you back to the same material, right? So you go to content. There you go, syllabus. There's your blue section, and I haven't linked it yet. So I'll link that today, and then you'll see that they'll be updated. Sometimes this happens to me where I forget to link it. If you ever don't find the slides for the following day, they're not anywhere, go check the Google Drive. They're probably already up there. Let's see what else. Once we're, I think after exam 1, looking at grades, I'll show you guys how I do my calculations of how I calculate the grades. Also, how I estimate my ability to perform for the rest of the semester. Like if I stay with my same trend, what grade would I achieve in the class? Let's say I'm lucky and I get, or not lucky, if I push myself and I get perfect scores all the way out, what grade could I possibly achieve? And then I also do another calculation of like, if I perform my worst, how can I still pass, right? So we'll do that after the first exam. And then I want you guys, you can basically do it on your own to kind of keep track of your grades. All right. So I think, do you guys have any questions? How about you guys? Do you guys have any questions? All right, I'm gonna take that as a no. Perfect. All right, we still got 20 minutes. I'm gonna go over the material from that section 1.1, kind of the unifying themes. I'm gonna go a little bit fast. I'm gonna go over it lightly because I know I sent out the announcement too late to tell you guys to do the reading. If you did, great. If you didn't, just make sure you guys catch up in the next few days. All right. Wait, who's this purple? That's you? All right. I'm working on the permissions that you guys have. Can you do me a favor? Can you click on one of these pictures? You cannot. Or do you have this little button here? The add comment? Can you click on it and let's add a comment on this slide for me? Just say hello. Oh, just type in hello. All right. So all the assignments, all the documents, the syllabus, the schedules, everything has this ability for you guys to leave comments behind, right? And the reason I leave it like this is because if you ever have any questions or something about a slide that you don't get, even if it's during the class, you can just add it onto the slide and we'll pick it up right here. Today for attendance points, or just to know that everyone's here, can everyone just say hi on this slide? Just drop off a quick hi. All right, now let's really get into the class. Right? Hopefully, we don't crash this computer doing that. All right, let's go. So biology is a study of life. So this goes, there's different ways to approach it. And you can approach it either from different scales. Like normally it's like you can go through sizes, and you can go on to how properties come together to build it, or how taking it apart, you can see what components are all required to make sure that it's going on. The best part is it can do a lot of jobs, but you kind of want to know how is it able to achieve all these really complex or like organizing work, right? So basically for the big concepts of like, hey, what is life doing? What's the themes that are basically carried over, whether I'm jumping from an insect to a human, to a plant, to a fungus, to a mushroom, how are these things working? One of them we're going to find out is that there's a lot of organization, right? Like these things have mechanisms that are set up to keep them highly organized. The next part is that organization isn't random. It's actually coming from information telling it how to organize itself, or it's giving it rules or some kind of principle of like, this is your mechanism of how to organize yourself. And then the organization here, we're going to go in super small, is energy and matter, which is, we're going to go all the way to a little bit of chemistry. I think I have like 2 heavy chemistry slides, but I'll tell you exactly what I want, and I'll tell you exactly how I'm going to ask the questions so you guys feel comfortable. But at that level, it's basically the simple thing is that as life, we're made of atoms. Our atoms get put together to build these like complex molecules. And those molecules basically, depending on how they're built, can perform different tasks. And then the cool thing is the information can help us set up those molecules. So now we have it there. That'll be our matter. Energy is coming in from the other side, which is these molecules need to have some sort of energy. And that's where it goes all the way back to the sun. Sun gives us energy, and you'll see how we turn that into sugar in plants. We eat the sugars to make ATP, and then we get our muscles to function. And kind of like the little story I just said there about how stuff interacts with each other, right? You're going to see that there's a bunch of different levels of interaction. Like I just showed you how we went from the sun to one organism, and how that organism interacts with the following one, eating or different types of relationships. And then finally, it's evolution, which is kind of how things are changing or adapting based on their environment. All right, so let's go on. So organization, I don't like the way they drew it as an S, but I kind of see their point because they're trying to say how they're all related. When I draw these on my stuff, I always draw this at the bottom, the atom, and then I basically work my way up. I'm thinking that's the smallest thing. I can combine these atoms to make a molecule. This is one of my favorites. That's the DNA, like that's a double-stranded DNA loop. That's going to be the one that holds basically all of our information, right? That information then gets read out in specific chapters or specific sections, which will give us that organelle, which will be in this case, it's like phospholipid layers or like little fat bubbles basically that have a specific material on the inside. And the benefit of that is that you can isolate chemical reactions to specific chambers. In this case, you're looking at basically a leaf chloroplast, and those little green things on the inside are thylakoids. Those are basically the ones that get hit by the light, and that activates the electrons. And that's where we get energy from. Those organelles then come together to basically give us a cell. So a cell, the way I think of it, is almost like, you can think of it as a community, or you can think of it as an individual person. It has to do a lot of functions, like we need to eat, we need to breathe, we need to output CO2, we need to go to the restroom, right? Those are our responsibilities. We need to balance ourselves. We need to have the appropriate amount of water, and they're going to be doing all those jobs. They're going to compare plants and animals and how they can achieve these with different mechanisms. From the cell, we then hit the tissue level, which is tissue is just an organized or a group of cells. Sometimes they'll carry the exact same functions, and when you can combine different types of tissues together, that's when you can actually create a whole organ. Right? We're going to go, I think, through the leaf, and I can't remember if I think it's the stomach lining. That's one of my favorites. So we'll bring that one up. once you put this together, a bunch of organs gives an organ system. And that'll be like, for us, it could be like our heart, blood vessels, or it could be like our digestive system, which is you have different organs coming together to produce one big function. Finally, you combine all of that, and that's when we get this, which would be our organism, right? So for us, we're like one being. This could be a plant, a different animal. And then eventually you start getting to these, which is your population, which is, for us, it's basically this classroom, right? So it's like everyone you're interacting with. And that's similar to the same species as you. You hit the community, you start hitting bigger groups, ecosystems, basically everything that's going on. And then biosphere is the earth, right? So we're gonna go from small to big. Like I said, I'm gonna start there at the atom, and I'm gonna walk you guys all the way up to an organism in this class. So it's gonna be a fun class. All right. So for this one, keywords here, that blue one, this would be one that I would start adding to your library of words, or to your own dictionary. Reductionism was basically strategies of like how we're gonna figure out how life works, right? And basically the rule for this one is kind of like you're thinking, if I can isolate the smallest component that performs that job, then that'll be the thing that's the way that I can understand it, right? You're gonna hear reductionism. The other one that kind of goes wrong is it's necessary and sufficient, right? And sufficient is almost like if I take it away, then the thing can't perform the task anymore. But it's about understanding about how that's organ, that small, that specific, right? There's a violent energy thing. Here's the actual mechanism inside of it. You're kind of zooming in, looking inside of it, trying to figure out what are these small little things that are working together to give us a big function. So we look up reductionist, add it to your dictionary, and over the next next two lectures, kind of keep an idea of how would you jump up or down. Reductionist is jump down. Emergent properties is basically jumping up. Right? So that one, if we go back to this little tree here, it would be like I said, if we started at the tissue, and it's like a tissue is just one type of cell type, they can do one function. By putting them together, they can perform a bigger task, right? So that's kind of like emergent property. These little small components come together and they give you the bigger thing. I think the analogy you guys get in the book is the cake, right? So it's like, what we're talking about an emergent property is, if we go look at the property of the individual ingredients in the beginning, it's like, I don't think I'd be happy eating just a spoonful of dough, or raw eggs. But by combining all these things, mixing them at the right ratios, and then putting them into the oven specific temperatures for a specific amount of time, all of a sudden now we get this delicious thing that comes out on the other side, right? And that's the food way of explaining how basically bio works, right? In some cases, we're gonna look at things of how they come together, and by all these little small things coming together, we can get this really cool mechanism to function. So here's emergent properties. Again, think about smaller components, just building them up to make something bigger. If we only had a little brake disc, right, we'll be able to get home. No, it doesn't help us translation. The moment we put all of this together, we have the ability to move forward, move backwards, stop, go. All right, I'm gonna skip this part. So those are the two big ones we're gonna be talking about. Then these are other two that I really like. Pick structure and function. Normally when we talk about them in a group. So here you're basically looking at wings, and sometimes you'll see people talk about beaks. I really like talking about molecular, but it's things will change based on their shape. It kind of helps you predict or understand how they function, or like how its role is. I know Pepe Diaz, he's another bio professor here. He measures the shape and the structure of the beaks, and based on how they relate to their to the food that they can eat, right? So it's like they'll make shorter, smaller beaks to be able to crush like seeds. And then if they have softer things or other things, their beaks will actually get a little bit longer and they'll change shape. So as we're looking at different mechanisms, keep these two things in mind about how there's this combining of, there's a structure and how it performs a specific function. All right. Let's get this one for now. Then let's talk about if we put cells together, they'll give us, that'd be an emergent property, right? Technically, we're on this side, where your periodic cell, which means we have a nucleus and we have a bunch of organelles. A cell by itself, as far as we know, can't think or can't do math, right? But somehow you put all these cells together inside of me, and then I can add things, subtract things, and multiply, right? So there, it's like, I am the emergent property. You can also go backwards and think about, like, if you break me down going backwards, it actually won't work, right? Because it'll be like, oh yeah, I can do math. If you keep taking cells away, you won't get to just one single cell by itself that can do all the thoughts. So that's where we kind of hit this thing of like, hey, we can emerge, but we can't do a reductionist approach to study. These are going to be the two basic units. Sorry, I got distracted. For eukaryotes, we're like the fancier cells, right? We have all these basically organelles, and all they are like specific structures surrounded by this phospholipid bilayer, which for now, and I'm gonna keep saying it, it's just a little fat bubble, right? But that little fat bubble makes it a really nice chamber where we can make things happen. Eukaryotic cells have them, super nice and fancy. Prokaryotes don't, right? So they just have one single envelope wrapping the whole cell. There's your DNA, there's the ribosomes, and everything's happening in the exact same chamber. With that being said, this is going to lead to so many differences throughout the course. I'm going to be talking about how one mechanism works, and then I'm going to tell you this is how it works here, and this versus how it works over there. Right? For example, my favorite one, the biggest thing I like about biology is the central dogma. Right? If you learn anything about today, write that one down. Central dogma, and that goes that from your DNA, it gets transcribed to your RNA, and that gets translated into a protein. And in my head, I add my own little arrow, which says function. So in that sense, our DNA has our information, which has all of it. What we do as eukaryotes is we actually go in and pick specific pieces in each cell type that we have, and we bring out only certain jobs. And because we have to go through all these structures and these little fat bubbles, we actually have to have extra different code snippets to help us make it more efficient for it to actually work. Opposite to prokaryotes, these guys, same chamber, it's super easy. What they actually do is they can actually put all the genes that they care about in a row, and it just makes all of them in one shot. And then what's happening is that RNA gets split, and you can make multiple proteins. I'm gonna get into that, like, I think unit 2, but you guys are gonna, like I said, I get super excited. You guys have to slow me down for sure on that one. So again, let's go back to keep going with the cell. Here's some more shots. Again, there's our DNA, right? Central part. The ribosomes, in our case, are basically out here. They're sitting on the outside. So in order to get that out, we have to get our DNA, we make it into RNA, and the RNA and those small snippets, those can actually kind of float out, and they'll go into the specific organs to actually make things happen. So when you're thinking about eukaryotic cells, the big thing I want you guys to be thinking about is those membranes, right? Phospholipid membranes or the fat bubbles. In prokaryotes, they're a lot smaller. Their tasks, they perform all tasks. What time is it? Oh, we still got time, yeah. They perform all their tasks in the same cell, and they're by themselves, right? While for us, different cells in my body will perform different tasks. Like my eyes will make proteins that help make the little crystal structure that keeps my eyes clear, while my stomach's making acid. All right, let's go. Information. So all the organization, all those things that we're making, it's not just randomly happening. It's actually encoded in here, what's in blue, which is our DNA, right? I think, you guys remember how many million base pairs our DNA has? Let me see, what is this? So here, accompanying this slide, I'm going to put my class notes where I actually write down the numbers, but I think we're hitting like millions of base pairs, right? That's basically all the instructions to make everything for us. And then what we do is we pick subsets of that information to actually perform specific tasks. So to me, I almost think about it like if your DNA was a cookbook, right? And it can do all the recipes. But then in our personal experience, it's like, if we think about it almost like seasons, I have certain recipes I do in winter, right? Certain things I do for the holidays, certain food I prefer in the summer or the fall. That's basically how the cells are working. You have this whole book, but we're only reading chapters of specific recipes to get the cells to work. So for this one, it's this will be basically the beginning of life, right? There's the sperm, there's the egg. So this has half of the genetic information, and this has the other half. When they combine it, you make your first cell. That's your fertilized egg. And at that point, you have all the instructions that they're going to tell you how exactly we're going to make you, or we're going to make you. As it goes through different stages, it undergoes changes, and those changes basically start reading different snippets of that book. And that's how we can start changing different tasks or doing different jobs. So the gene is basically, when we draw a chromosome, you'll see eventually I'll draw it in the class. Let's say, you probably all seen the little pictures, they draw it like this, right? If we zoom into one of these, you can see the DNA would be something like that. And within that, you'll have these snippets of these genes where, this is my little arrow of where it gets made. This DNA gets turned to RNA. And this RNA is the one that folds up to make that 3D protein. This would be DNA. And this is basically a gene. And just how we see this gene, that this one will perform, let's say, one specific task. As you move across the chromosome, you'll pick like entire families of genes that use this same strategy to give us a specific task. So I'll show you some cool ones when we get to that section. So here, I think I rushed it a little bit. There, central dogma. That's my favorite thing, right? So the DNA has all the information, and then we're going to decide. Normally, you use the context, so actually the sequence outside of here tells us where to start and when to make this, right? And by doing so, it'll limit to only some cells will make specific transcripts. This will be your mRNA. This mRNA that gets turned into these amino acid chains. This is basically your protein. And those proteins are, to me, they're almost like little machines that are able to do tasks. They can grab molecules, glue them together. They can shred molecules apart. They can cut things. They can glue things. They can give phosphates groups. They can change it. It's like super powerful stuff. They can grab each other. They can pull on each other. It's like it's super fancy. So that's fine. All right. So energy and matter. This is the other big theme. So like I said, for this one, kind of going one more time with the cycle, is that the chemicals themselves, they stay locally, right? So if we go back to my analogy, the light comes in, it activates, it basically gives it energy to glue CO2, right, which has carbon, and it makes them come together and actually gives us sugar. And then that sugar, basically, we can actually eat it. We eat the sugar, we break it up, and we produce CO2. So we draw it back out, and that'll be the chemical that we output. And then that chemical can go back into a plant. It can glue the CO2, make it sugar, and then we can eat it again, right? So the molecule is going to stay inside that loop or inside that environment. And what's powering this whole thing is going to be this light from the sun, right? So that's the energy that comes in, puts energy into a molecule to make it sugar. Now that's high energy molecule. When we eat it, we're basically extracting energy from the molecule to produce CO2, but we're losing some stuff. Or like our movement, it's energy that we're kind of burning off. So that needs to get replenished in the cycle. So the chemicals, the atoms, they're basically going through the system in circles, and we're having the sun be the thing that's basically powering up all these reactions. This one really concerns me with the way that we farm, right? Because just like there's carbon, there's phosphorus, nitrogen, potassium, all these other chemicals inside of the soil. Now, the way we're set up is that we have farms really far away from us. When we eat them, we're basically stealing the chemicals from that soil. But because we don't live anywhere near the soil, it's hard for us to return the chemicals to it. And that's where some people use like oil-based products because they can bring the chemicals from there. Or some of them is like, I don't know if you guys ever like driven near a farm where you can smell the manure, that's their way of like, hey, we got to bring the chemicals back to power up the soil, right? So we have the chemicals there to not power up. So we have the material to build something. So that one's pretty cool. All right, finally, we said interactions. So for this one, Again, it's about how things work across each other. Don't memorize this drawing. It doesn't matter. Interactions of things, like I said, you're going to be seeing it throughout the course. I'll be talking about how things connect to each other. In this case, they're kind of showing our body and how things are working, which is, we eat stuff, our nutrients come in, they go through our blood, and through our blood system, we're actually able to distribute them out. Same thing, we feed ourselves, they produce CO2, which is, again, our waste after burning sugar. And that's what we can throw out to our lungs. And then we can pick up new O2 to basically go strip some more carbon. Here's another level of interaction, which is interaction across the system, which means just how I can talk about interactions within your body, I can also talk about interactions in the environment. Basically, here you're looking at different organisms and how they work within their environment to make things happen. I normally like plant ones, which are like mycorrhizoids. They kind of help. They kind of help break down the soil. They also kind of have this relationship with the plant, where the plant can use it to suck up energy, and then the plant basically can go to the next following organism. But again, don't memorize the charts, just know the principle that things can interact. And it's all going back to the first chart that we started with. This little guy, right? So interactions can happen at this scale, at this scale, or down here, right? But you can just literally jump across how things are going to be working together. All right, and so for evolution, I think I'm gonna get more into this one into the next lecture. But before I go, I'm gonna give you guys this topic and then open up the questions then for the day. Part of this interaction is we're gonna have different levels of feedback. For us, we can think about it like in class, like I can give you guys feedback. I could be positive or negative, and that's gonna affect your behavior, right? So my goal is I want questions, I want class participations, and I'm gonna do a positive feedback. So that's why I'm gonna give you guys a lot of points, right? Negative feedback is like, hey, if you know, let's say you don't schedule things properly and you don't prep for class before coming, you're gonna suffer a little bit, right? Your grades, it's gonna be harder for you to understand me. When you take the quizzes, you might not feel so confident, so it's gonna bring your grades down. And I want you guys to think of those exams as like quick negative feedback, or even little quizzes or in-class assignments. If you feel that something's not working and you're like, hey, I'm not getting this, or it's not sticking, I need you to visit or like analyze or revisit or analyze or kind of like judge yourself on what you're doing, right? And be like, hey, these are the strategies I'm using. I would talk to other people in the class, see how they're doing and see what other techniques or strategies that they're doing and see if you can emulate that to make yourself kind of fill in the gap or try to catch up. So please do so as early on in the course. That way, it's like the faster you do, you gain the skills that you need to have, and we'll be set, right? In that process, you got to know that there's a lot of different tools here. One is I think you're all super powerful, capable people. Where I'm like, I feel super confident when somebody being like, hey, get a computer. I know you can figure it out. So be confident in yourself. I know you can do it. The other one is use your classroom, right? So everyone here, just talk to your peers. I used to love studying in groups. That's one thing that helped me. The other one is there is mentoring and there is tutoring programs. So if as early as possible, you feel you're hesitating a little bit, go to them, right? And then the other one is, of course, myself. If you're ever unsure or you need anything, don't be afraid to stop by office hours or in the middle of class, just stop and ask me questions. Yeah. So that's my big like little ending about negative and positive feedbacks, going back to a little bit about how the class works. But again, this slide, just memorize the keywords that I wanted, the 5 themes, and the little terminology below it. You don't have to memorize it like specific examples. Yeah. You guys have any questions? No? How about you guys? Any questions? All right. So if that's the case, we're going to call it for today. See you guys on Wednesday. Hopefully we'll all make it to class.